Absolutely. So I think what that means to the community, again, is you have an officer who got skin in the game. This is their community. They're one of you. They're one of us.
Yeah.
They live here. Again, they and the other value you find is when we're dealing with situations, they know people. I mean, yes, we're a growing community, but we're still a small community in many ways. So when that officer says, I went to school with your brother, man, come on, and they know things, they can find things out. So in terms of dealing with situations, they already have a backstory. Many cases when they're showing up, and again, now the community knows they have an officer that is this is a Seguin police officer. So we have terrific officers that some don't, not all of them live here in our community. We have great officers, but I think as we increase that ratio, it's going to have a more Seguin-centric vibe to our department.
Well, welcome to another episode of Discover Seguin. I'm your host, David Pope, and we are privileged to be joined here by the Seguin Police Department Chief of Police, Jason Brady. Chief, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, David.
Yeah. So tell me, you and I were just talking, and you said that you've been here now 3 years, and you've been in all 3 years. You've been in this role as chief, correct?
That is correct.
And so, where'd you come from before this?
So I did the majority of my career in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Okay.
Rose through the ranks. Was in just about every division: investigations, narcotics, SWAT. Was fortunate enough to promote. Retired as a captain. I believe my last assignment was organized crime. Then I was looking to just kind of build upon everything that I'd done in my career and looking to kind of give back, and found a chief job in Rollingwood, Texas, which is a little enclave of Austin. Yeah. If you know where Zilker Park is, pretty much borders Zilker Park. And so I had a great experience there, great community, quite affluent though, not a lot of crime, and completely landlocked. Yeah. Did about 3 years there, and then I just got an inkling to it just wasn't enough activity. I wasn't looking for a retirement job, and I noticed the posting for Seguin. It's a dynamic community, it's growing. It reminded me demographically and being the county seat and a lot of different elements that reminded me of kind of a small Corpus Christi. Yeah, for sure. So I applied, and I don't know how many applied. I think 50 people applied.
Oh, wow.
And
big pool.
Yeah, it was very cool. And got an interview and came in, and I guess they liked some of what they saw. They offered me the job, and here I've been for the last 3 years.
Yeah, you've been here for 3 years. You were at Corpus Christi for a long career. But what really, what made you decide to get into policing?
Well, as a young man, it was different. I grew up in the 80s, and, a lot of policing was seen, I think, more favorably. They weren't always portrayed negatively or corrupt. You had all sorts of cop shows. I mean, I grew up with Chips and Miami Vice, and Hill Street Blues. In fact, my phone, the ringer is the Hill Street Blues song.
Is it really?
Yes, sir. It goes off. The young officers have no idea what that is. But so I had a very favorable impression of law enforcement to begin with. And an interesting story, my dad and I, we went to Busch Gardens in Florida. Okay. Kind of a father-son day. And, of course, he's touring the brewery and all that. And they have a large man-made lake with bleachers. And they have, like, water skiing shows. Mm-hmm. And, people do jumps, or people stack up and do pyramids. Oh, wow. And it's one of the attractions. Yeah. And just as the show was over and people are getting off the bleachers to go to the roller coaster or whatever next attraction the family's going to go to, they get on the loudspeaker and they're like, if anyone would like to stay, I don't remember the exact name, but it was something like the Florida Tactical Officers Association is going to be doing a demonstration. I guess they had their conference in that area. And I was like, let's check it out. And all of a sudden, they're blasting the Miami Vice music, cigarette boats skipping, helicopters are coming, people are rappelling off. There's just all, and they're all in their tactical kit.
Oh, wow.
And, I'm a kid. I'm like, I got to do that. So I always had leanings towards that at that point. When I went to college, I studied and got my degree in criminology, which is the scientific study of crime as opposed to just a criminal justice degree. So I was very interested in all of that. And suffice to say, all these years later, I've never rappelled out of a helicopter onto a cigarette boat, but it's been a good career nonetheless.
Well, there's still time, maybe.
There may be time.
Okay. So 3 years now. I mean, I guess you've got your feet wet. You've got your bearings under you. You've built out your team, your leadership staff there and everything. Tell me, kind of, I guess, give me a brief synopsis of kind of how that's gone over the last 3 years, and then what do you see for the next 5-10 years here?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, I just have a tremendous staff. The men and women, both sworn and civilian. So I have 71 sworn positions and 35 civilians because we encompass animal control. We have our own dispatch center for an agency our size. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
And then we have our clerks, our forensics people, various civilian positions. So we're just really we have a good team. I got here, there were good people in place. And I saw my role as twofold. One, to be more laser focused on some crime and quality of life issues. And also, I think important, and probably ties into a lot of the different conversations you have with various leaders, is to plan for that growth of our city.
For sure. So
towards the addressing some of the crime issues, we have a really great department, but what I noticed is we're very reactive. Our officers would, get a call and respond to that call. And what I wanted to do was concentrate on not so much chasing calls, but preventing them.
Right.
And my focus was on recidivists, which is just a fancy word for repeat offenders. Any community that's experiencing any kind of crime, which all communities have some level of crime, you're going to have a small number of individuals that are disproportionately committing those crimes. So instead of waiting for them we're going to laser focus on those individuals. So I started a street crimes unit, and they are and I sent them to various training. I sent them actually to ride with my old gang unit in Corpus Christi, and they each did 3 days riding out with them, kind of learning some of their tactics and some of their procedural techniques they use. And so they focus on quality of life. They can be proactive. They can focus on an individual and make sure we're targeting the individual and preventing crime in many instances. They can also do things that a patrol officer couldn't do. Say, at Christmas, we could do packages on porches and check for porch pirates. We could sit up in parking lots where we know maybe there's been some car burglaries. And, my detectives, they don't have time to do that. My patrol officers, they got to be available for calls.
Sure.
So that gave me a proactive element to address those types of crimes. The other thing I did is I expanded the traffic unit so that, if there's traffic issues, instead of saying to an officer in between calls, can you pay attention to this neighborhood where they've been complaining about, speeding or whatever?
Right.
I can have dedicated traffic officers that can do that without the burden of calls. They can also assist by working recs and keeping those officers free to, again, engage in the calls for service and just proactively patrolling their districts. So that's kind of some of the targeting of the crime. Towards the growth end of it, one of the first things I did is I looked at the facilities that we had. I don't know if you've ever toured our station.
I've not, actually.
You should come by.
I think I should.
and see our facilities. They're quite nice. I think when you think of Seguin, you may not picture a purpose-built, nice facility like we have our police station. The issue, though, is every time you build something, then you don't anticipate. Maybe when it was built, the level of growth we're experiencing wasn't anticipated.
Sure.
So the other thing...
That's the way with I-35, isn't it?
I think that's the way of all of Austin, to be honest. They just put their head in the sand, and then they didn't have the infrastructure to deal with the growth.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be the guy that hands off my department to the next guy or gal, and they go, "Wow, you you left me in a problem here. You didn't.
Yeah.
You're right. You left me in a lurch. So I'm looking at the building and the facilities, and the other thing is to be a good steward of tax money. Like, I don't want to. Oh, we need a new police building. We've outgrown this. I'm looking at the facility, and there's room for growth. There's areas that were already just kind of storage that were anticipated for future growth. Mm-hmm. But the problem that I noticed is we don't have sufficient parking, and we did not have sufficient facilities for females because. I don't think people anticipated that more and more females would be attracted to this line of work.
Yeah.
So we have plans now to expand the locker rooms for the ladies and the restrooms. The evidence storage was near capacity, and there are things we're mandated to keep either, through various retention laws or because of statute of limitations hasn't expired. Somebody could appeal,
right?
And we have to keep and there's some things we have to keep almost forever. Things for sexual assaults, things for homicides, and those could be bulky. Like if someone shot through a door, we got to keep a door forever. So, yeah, it's a lot of property that we have to keep. And I saw the property room we had; it was almost full. The narcotics warehouse was just a cage within the property room. So those employees working in there were breathing that, moldy marijuana. And, of course, you have fentanyl and dangerous substances.
That's become more and more of a concern.
It's absolutely a concern, and it doesn't take much to cause someone a lot of grief if they were to come in contact with it. So I took an office that was in that space, and we converted that into the drug vault, and it's got its own air system, HVAC.
Okay.
It's all separate and secure and sealed so that all that narcotics evidence now is not, I think it's just made a more healthy work environment.
Sure.
And then we took all the shelving out. We put all the property in a temporary place, secured it, and then we got shelving systems that are on tracks. So instead of needing an aisle for every shelf, you just need one aisle because you turn and all the shelves move.
Kind of like the stacks in the library.
Correct.
I don't
know. The only place I've seen that, I watched a documentary on the Vatican and their story.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, this is really cool. So they have that now, and we've gained 40%. That's going to buy us years.
Oh, wow.
Years of stuff. So we're looking at those kinds of solutions to think ahead. We're looking at our staffing. One thing I noticed is we had for patrol, we had a day shift and we had a night shift, and they had the exact same number of people. And, so I began looking at the data, my team and I, and, and I think a lot of it is common sense, but you got to have the data to back it up. But we have the highest call volume sort of the later half of the day shift and the early half of the evening or night shift.
Right.
So I'm going to redistribute our personnel to have an extra shift in the middle. So you're literally doubling coverage when you have more calls. So just things like that to try and reduce call volume during those busy periods. Another thing we're doing is I just hired a civilian that's going to be in the lobby and can take certain types of calls when you walk in.
Okay.
You might just need a report for your insurance company.
Sure.
Or you might need a detective to follow up later, but we just need to get the initial report going. So we'll have a friendly face in the lobby that can take those reports, and I call that a force multiplier because that freed up an officer. Every day officers are coming to the lobby to take these reports.
Right.
So that'll free that up, and that'll create, hopefully minimize the calls because I can't always hire as many officers as I need. So I'm looking for solutions, again, to be force multipliers. So that's kind of, we're thinking along those lines strategically, how we can do more with less and how we can build out and plan for the future. I'm looking at property acquisition that's adjacent to our building.
Okay.
So that in the future, whether I could do something while I'm here or maybe the person that comes after me will have some land and they could build, additional buildings for things. Like right now we have a nice gym, workout room facility. If I could put that off-site, then I could have more offices and, I could accommodate, more staff, more civilians, more detectives. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at things like that. And then we have increased our capacity for our mental health peace officers. We had one, now we have two, so we've doubled that. Okay. And the goal there is to we're living in a time where very frequently the people we're dealing with are either people with mental health issues or they're in mental health crisis.
Now, these are sworn officers, though, still.
They are sworn officers.
Okay.
And so they're able to, because, things, even though we're trying to de-escalate,
Sure.
things can get, people can be violent. So these are sworn mental health people. All my officers have, they have training for dealing with mental health personnel. Mm-hmm. So that's something every officer has. But these two are specialized. I had one when I got here. Now we have two. And then I was able to split their shifts to give more coverage.
Right.
So what happens is they will either respond to a call if we know it's a mental health crisis, or if an officer asks for that assistance.
Okay.
Not only will they try to de-escalate it, but we're trying to divert people from the system because we're police officers and you're in a store tearing it up, going crazy. The tools a police officer has is to arrest you, right?
Right.
Some sort of disorderly conduct, vandalism, whatever. And if charges are appropriate, we they still need to happen. And if somebody truly needs to go to jail, we can still do that. But the better option, if possible, is to divert them from the criminal justice system and get them the mental health treatment that they need.
Sure.
And these officers are familiar with the various programs and all the different resources in the community for these individuals. They're also able to now follow up, right? They have a checklist, and it's so-and-so, how's he doing? They can get with the family, get them the resources. Is so-and-so on his meds, on her meds, and try and prevent further incidents and try to improve basically quality of life for these folks.
Fantastic. So that's a whole lot. I mean,
there's a lot going on. Yes, sir.
There's a lot of moving parts right now. And you said, so right now you have 71 sworn officers. Is that right?
Spots.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have individuals that are still in the police academy.
Okay.
And then,
And which academy is it? We use a.
We use
academy?
the Alamo, the ACOG.
Okay.
The Alamo area of governments. They have a law enforcement academy. Okay. And that's caters to our region. That's another little nuance. So before I got here, typically smaller agencies, we don't have a police academy. We're not Dallas. We're not Corpus.
Right.
We don't have our own academy. And what traditionally happens is, those agencies can pay somebody as a cadet, put them through their own academy, their own training. Mm-hmm. Whereas smaller agencies, what we do is we're looking for people already certified. And that means somebody had to go through the academy on their own nickel, or you're hiring an officer from another agency.
Okay.
And when you rely on that, your pool is smaller. I'm competing now for a good officer with 5 years experience, and some other agency is going to give them a $10,000 sign-on bonus and
Right.
$10,000 a year more than we can pay. So sometimes we're getting good officers, but sometimes they're officers that are problematic.
Yeah.
So my thought is, why can't we be like a big agency? I'll hire you from scratch. I'll pay your salary through the academy, and you belong to us.
And then you've got you got to pick the person.
Well, I got to pick the apple off the tree, not out of the barrel.
Yeah.
And one of the conditions I put on that is, I'll take a good officer who comes from anywhere, but if I'm going to pay your tuition and pay your salary throughout the academy, I want you to be from Guadalupe County. So now I'm getting people that have skin in the game, that are from our region. They're not a hired gun. This is their community. This is their family. This is where they grew up, or this is where their kids are going to school. And we're getting officers that are just really believe in our community. And I think that's slowly changing sort of the demographics of the department. And to give you an example, when I got here, we had no African-American officers. Well, that's not representative of our population here in Seguin.
Yeah.
And when you are able to offer an opportunity for someone, because there's folks that want to be police officers, but they may not want to go and move to some big city. Yeah. And they might not be able to quit their job to put themselves through a 6-7 month police academy on their, and take care of their family.
Right.
So this gives us a chance to find some really good people that want to be cops, want to be part of the solution here in our community. And, we're going to pay your way, and you're going to graduate as a Seguin police cadet to be sworn in as an officer with us. So we're really excited about a lot of these things we're doing.
So how many cohorts have you brought through so far on that plan?
So since I've taken over, we've hired 22 officers. Some of those were officers that were laterals. I'm going to guess, I'm just going to throw out a number. I'm going to say between 15 and 17.
Okay, so a large percentage of them
We're rolling them through. We had one, we did 5
Yeah.
at a shot. We have 2 in the academy right now. We have 3 that are going to start in August. So it's kind of our go-to now in hiring. I know some of the officers are a little, it's not our traditional way of thinking.
Yeah.
And they like that I hire an officer and he hits the street, or at least he hits field training right away, as opposed to, well, okay, this is somebody we got to wait for.
Yeah.
But I just think there's value in it. You're going to have less turnaround. You're going to have, again, somebody that's vested in the community, and we can really celebrate that person and work with them in the academy if they need help.
Yeah, and what does that? I mean, what does that look like? You think from the community's standpoint, right? And just in terms of overall policing and kind of the goodwill that the department can engender within the community. I mean,
Absolutely. So I think what that means to the community, again, is you have an officer who got skin in the game. This is their community. They're one of you. They're one of us.
Yeah.
They live here. Again, they and the other value you find is when we're dealing with situations, they know people. I mean, yes, we're a growing community, but we're still a small community in many ways. So when that officer says, I went to school with your brother, man. Come on, and they know things. They can find things out. So in terms of dealing with situations, they already have a backstory. Many cases when they're showing up, and again, now the community knows they have an officer that is it's their. This is a Seguin police officer. So we have terrific officers that some don't. Not all of them live here in our community. We have great officers, but I think as we increase that ratio, it's going to have a more Seguin-centric vibe to our department.
That's that feels like maybe an anomaly in departments these days, and in so many things. Even I mean, just in so many governmental agencies, even in local, whether it be school districts and others, that what at one point in time was always a grassroots, community founded organization that then grew up to handle services in a community kind of became something that got outsourced to the professionals and the headhunters and everything else. And so it's really unique to hear how we're kind of trying to reverse that trend.
We're trying to reverse that trend. I mean, the big example, of course, professional sports. It used to be a team from a city. You would expect those are your people, but now they're just hired guns, right?
Right.
So I want our officers as much as possible to be local, and kind of that's what that looks like, I think, in practice. And it is the other thing that's unique, and I'm really proud of my team, and I think it says something about the culture that my officers and our civilian staff are developing, is if you are to do some research right now on law enforcement, in recent years, they're having trouble hiring people.
Yeah.
You've had the George Floyd, the defund the police, and a host of very high-profile national incidents that have really changed the trajectory, if you will, to where this used to be. When I signed up to be a cop in Corpus, I was in an auditorium and there was probably just shy of 1,000 people trying for 25 slots.
Wow.
If Corpus has 25 slots now, they probably get 400 applicants. So the interest isn't there. And when you're a smaller community like Seguin that doesn't maybe have the same salary and benefits of larger communities, you're seeing that. Then when there's a good applicant, people are fighting for them. And you go to the websites, all the different PDs where they're offering, this sign-on bonus, and we have this and we have that. And it's very competitive, and a lot of departments are very short on officers right now. And again, a tribute to my crew and my staff, my officers. We are fully staffed. Like, we do not currently have a vacancy. We have some people that aren't sworn in yet because they're going to the academy, but we're full. I couldn't take another officer. So I think there's something about the culture here that's causing folks to take notice and be part of what we're building.
Oh, that's a great position to be in. And it's funny, the more of these interviews that I do with folks here in the city and the county, I mean, there is just a genuine excitement about this community. And
there's something special here.
There really is.
Yeah.
There really is.
It sounds kind of corny.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're here, you see it. People are excited about Seguin. And, I talked about Austin burying their head in the sand. I think the growth is coming, and there are people that I can see that. They grew up here. They like the small town, but you can't stop it. So knowing you can't stop it, ignoring it is the wrong thing. You plan for it so that you don't have a mess. You have the infrastructure, and you have all the city facilities, and you have the police and the fire and the streets. And I'm going to say, we just have an outstanding leadership team here, whether that be Manager Parker or the council, the mayor. They all understand that. They understand that we have a certain small town culture and values, but you can't stop what's coming. And if you just ignore it, you're going to be in trouble. There's things that are way beyond me as a police chief, but the water treatment and the utilities and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm just a small part of that, right? I'm in the public safety, me and the fire chief, and so I'm doing my best to make sure that we're ready for that growth, and that we're providing this community those services they need as we reach these different benchmarks of population.
So tell me, along with the growth, what are kind of the key areas that you see, I guess, and whether those be crime areas or needs for, maybe additional traffic concerns or various patrols. What are the needs that you're really kind of laser focused on that, boy, we're going to have, we need to be addressing these here in the next 5 years?
Yeah, great question. So and we touched on it somewhat, but a small town police department, your officers are sort of generalists. But as you grow, you need to have officers that are more specialists. And that's kind of what I talked about, having a devoted traffic section, having a devoted sort of street crimes unit. And then I have detectives. I had 7, now I have 8.
And these are property and
they're
violent
all
crime, or
right. Now, there are some officers that have a
dedicated?
knack for financial crimes because
Okay.
there's a lot of numbers, and not everybody's finds that to be a very sexy thing to look at spreadsheets. We have officers that are kind of specialized in sex crimes and things, but overall, their caseload is what it is.
Okay.
But as you grow, you're going to need people that are more specialized, and I can see at some point not having maybe a strict robbery, homicide, or auto theft units or things of that specificity yet, but maybe dividing crimes against person and property crimes.
Right.
And then you can have specialization. You can specialize your training. The people can be dealing with the same types of again, recidivists, right? You're okay. Well, I'm always dealing with these same people that commit these kinds of crimes. Sure. And so forth. So, whether that's on the patrol level, you talked about traffic, having a traffic section that can focus on the laser focus on these problems. Hey, we got some trouble here at the school district in the morning. Well, if I got an officer not responding to call like that, I'm going to have an officer sitting there, but he got a call, he's got to go.
Yeah.
But if I have enough officers and I have some that can specialize now, a traffic section, you're going to be working that school district from this time to this time until we're satisfied that we've made the citizens happy that we've slowed traffic down, or the problem person's been addressed, or so forth. So it's specialization as we go forward, and that's going to happen also with our civilian personnel, our forensics people, various support functions. And those support functions, again, if I can have, and I'm not there yet, but if I have 24/7 forensics personnel that can go out and process a crime scene, and that officer's not having to take measurements and pictures and dust, now he can go to another call where you need a badge and a gun, and then so that's where we're trying to move towards. And I'm trying to, where I can do that, I fill those spots, and where I can't, I'm laying the infrastructure so that the next chief won't have to build the foundation from scratch.
And so, we recently just interviewed Sheriff Ray, and, he was very complimentary and talked a lot about, kind of the joint department, work that y'all do. And of course, he obviously functions with the other departments as well. And I'm just kind of curious, we obviously have, I believe we have SROs here at the school districts. We have, you have the sheriff's office, you have the constable's offices, and I see sometimes, as I go through school zones and whatnot, sometimes I'll see sheriff's offices vehicles there, or I'll see constable office. How is it? That seems like a lot of coordination, to figure out how that all works and make sure that, you're not stepping on each other's toes, and that you're also kind of making the most efficient use of all of your resources in those various and sundry places.
Yeah. So we have a great working relationship with all our area law enforcement. In fact, Sheriff Ray, when he was chief deputy, he had started arranging like monthly lunches. Uh-huh. So we'd sit down with the county attorney and the constables and, Cibolo shirts area, just the area law enforcement, and just over breaking bread over to discuss some of these issues and work together. The Seguin, being the county seat, the Seguin Police Department's always worked very well with the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Department. And we are on various, I think task force is a bit formal of a word, but we work together with narcotics. If there's undercover operations, sometimes they don't have enough personnel or we don't have enough personnel, but together, if there's a specific operation, we can pool our resources. We work very closely with their they also have full-time mental health peace officers. So, we work together and we coordinate. And if there's large-scale events, we just recently had a protest here in our Central Park, which went very smoothly. We have just wonderful citizens that, unlike other areas of the country, we were very pleased how that went. But again, we coordinate with the various law enforcement entities and work together. So, we try to not overlap where it's going to be there's some level of redundancy that is not efficient. Yeah. But we're able to coordinate and work together in those areas where we need to bring lots of resources to bear on a problem.
Excellent. That's great that that there's not this these territorial fights, and it's really a collaborative effort to make sure that the policing is done for the community at large.
And I've seen that, and it's very dysfunctional. And at the end of the day, it's a disservice to the community. Yeah. But we have a great relationship here. I got the sheriff on my phone. He calls me. I call him, and other area law enforcement leaders as well. So it's a great relationship we have here.
Excellent. Let me think for a minute. This is the good thing. Now that I can think and I can say, I need to think. What's that? Yeah. Okay. So, we always like to just find out a little bit more about everybody who comes in, a little bit personally, and just tell us a little bit about your family and, what makes about the Brady household.
So we're probably not a terribly exciting bunch. We are Brady bunch. I'm married to my wife, Patricia, and my oldest daughter is Rebecca, and she graduated from Kingsville A&M with an English literature degree. And my son is 20, and he's in his second year in San Marcos.
All right.
So he's I'll get one more out, and then we'll be free and clear. But we got a home. We live here in Seguin. And that was another sort of prerequisite in terms of what I was looking for in a job. Again, I told you. I was the chief in Rollingwood, wonderful community, but a vacant lot's probably $1.5 million.
Oh, wow.
So I just didn't feel like I was part of that community. Yeah. And I wanted to be, I wanted to work and enforce the laws in the community I'm in. And it's just really, really great. My family loves it here. My wife has gotten involved with some things with the Citizens Police Academy alumni. Mm-hmm. And she's on the board for the women's shelter or the the Thriving Hearts Crisis Center. Is
Okay.
what it's been renamed. So we're just, we're really excited to be part of this community. The people here are just fantastic. We couldn't be happier. So, I go to work every day, and I love it. Like, it's not a job.
Yeah.
And come home and, to my family, and we love that. And every move we've made where, I've gone on to a different job, it's been a consultation with my family because it's their life too. Like,
Sure.
I'm moving them, I'm picking them up, and they've been very supportive of what I'm doing, and I couldn't be more blessed.
Awesome. So you had mentioned, you have a number of specialized officers and everything, and one of them you mentioned, you're in charge of the animal control here in town.
That is true.
Tell me just kind of a little bit about, one, their work and where you think, it's been brought up maybe that, and of course it seems to be a growing problem in lots of communities, or maybe it's been a lessening problem, I don't know, that where, we have unspayed and unneutered animals and just lots of strays and just kind of the health and safety hazard that poses for the community.
It's a tremendous vector. It's a problem, if you will, in terms of the community, but also as we grow, the number of these dogs multiply, and people that don't take responsibility to spay or neuter, these dog populations, they grow, and you can see it in cities. Sometimes you wind up having packs of dogs that are engaged in and they go back to their sort of more primitive brain, because some of them are wild, and so there's a great danger there. And I think at the end of the day, it's a cruelty, right? I mean, having a pet should be part of your family, and if you're not going to treat it as such, it's unfortunate. And as the city grows, then the need to accommodate these animals increases. And if I would make a plea to your audience, is if you are considering a pet, number one, be responsible, but two, consider adopting from the shelter, from our animal services. We have some wonderful, not all of them are mean strays. I mean, a lot of them are just dogs. People had too many in their litter, and they can't care for them all. We have sometimes people that have passed on and their dog's still there. There's all kinds of scenarios where people can't care for their pets anymore, and they wind up in our facility, and we have limited capacity to house them and to care for them, and we provide veterinary care and food. It's an expensive endeavor, but we want to treat these animals humanely. So, if you're thinking of getting a pet, come see what we got to offer.
And so, do we have programs? I know there are, there are programs in bigger cities and even in New Braunfels, with some spay and neuter clinics and vaccinations and whatnot. Does Seguin offer anything like that right now? Whether through the government agencies or through nonprofits, do we have anything like that going on here?
We have some, I believe, some low-cost programs that we provide. To know specifically what they are, I'd have to refer you afterwards and kind of see what's available from Shelley. She runs our shelter. We do also bring in the Paws organization. You probably see in our parking lot on the weekends many times that we're offering like vaccinations and rabies and things at very, very reduced cost.
Sure.
To try to, because pet ownership's expensive.
And getting more so.
Yeah. And we're trying as much as possible with the resources we have, and to there are groups that will and some of these are nonprofits, not necessarily affiliated with us, but we support. There's a group, and they try to catch cats that are feral, and then spay and neuter, and then release. And so if you see a cat that's missing the corner of its ear, that means that's one they've already serviced.
Oh, really?
That way they don't waste effort trying to trap that same animal. So there are lots of other groups that are trying to deal with this problem. But again, that's just an issue that's going to be part of the growing pains. And so, we need to know that some monies have to be allocated towards addressing that. But, dealing with it in a humane way, it's difficult when we can only take so many animals.
For sure. Chief, here's the question that really kind of puts everybody on the spot. And you're not an elected official, right?
No, sir.
So you don't have to go before the voters. So there's a little bit of safety in that, maybe somewhat. So the question is, what's your favorite place to go in Seguin? What's your favorite thing to go do?
Well, I like to visit a lot of our restaurants.
Are you going to name one, or are you?
I could probably name several. I'll tell you, my go-to place on Friday, I meet the fire chief and sometimes the city manager, and once in a blue moon I'll meet the mayor. But we have on Friday morning I have a public safety meeting with the fire chief, and we go to Yoli's.
Okay.
And we just get incredible tacos.
That's right. We get tacos from Yoli's every Friday morning ourselves here at the office.
But I mean, there are a lot of good eateries. There's an Italian place just north of the freeway. The name escapes me. We like to go Giuseppe's, possibly.
Okay.
Eitan, burnt bean before I had to wait in line.
That line is something now, isn't it?
Yeah, Evie. I mean, there's so many great eateries here, and I think more are coming.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. I think with that growth is going to come more amenities, more retail opportunities, and so we're just really excited about all of that.
Awesome. Well, Chief, thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that to hear that you are so interested in really kind of turning the tide of what is going to look like a true community police force. And I think that's really exciting, and a credit to you and a credit to our community too, that that this is the kind of place where you can actually do that. So kudos to you. Thank you for joining us today. And we appreciate you joining and watching another episode of Discover Seguin. Join us next time when I have no idea who we'll be talking to, but it's going to be fun. So come on back.